Hey there, Gemini. Welcome to your reading for the week of January 26th. You have this focus card. It says, it's difficult to be productive when your energy is scattered in so many different directions. Of course it is, Gemini. You have this schedule card. It says, most forms of prosperity require time and effort to manifest. Do you have room in your schedule for abundance you are wanting to attract? It's like what I'm hearing here on this schedule card is like the price you're willing to pay for something. And I'm not talking about like literal money, but I don't really remember who it is, but there are, and it probably multiple people probably say the same thing. But I once heard from someone famous that basically you have to decide what you're willing to pay up front for whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, whether that's I'm willing to work on this for the next year until it works, or whatever. That's what they meant by the price you're willing to pay. It's not money. It's like how much effort or what are you willing to do to get what you want. And I think there's something very powerful to that. It's kind of like there's a book, The Miracle Morning, by the way, and by Hal Elrod. And in that book, he says, for his affirmations, I don't remember off the top of my head, but basically his affirmations will be like, I make $10,000 a month, and for that I do XYZ, right? So his affirmations are basically kind of like talking about what he is doing to earn whatever it is he wants to earn. But again, it doesn't have to be money. It could be anything. And sorry, I forgot your last two cards. And so I feel like that schedule card is like, what are you willing to do? Maybe you need to answer that question here, Gemini. It's funny that I was laughing at that scattered card because I do feel like you could feel scattered right now. The Emperor wants you to be focused in your first row for your current general energy. So you have the Emperor, the Lovers, and the Ace of Swords. This could be a little bit of love, and there is good love stuff here. You've been getting probably the best love readings out of everybody recently, so sure, if you want love, it's here. I do feel like, of course, the Lovers is you, Gemini, showing up in a reading, and so the Emperor could be that focus. The thing about the Emperor is that he has his armor on underneath his cloak. It kind of says that he's ready to go at a moment's notice. He's sitting down, chilling out, but whenever an opportunity shows up, he takes it and he jumps on it very quickly. So he's always ready to go. I kind of feel for you, like I feel this kind of the same thing, where it would be good for you to be prepared for an opportunity, but I also feel it's saying once you get the opportunity, make it your focus. You have the Ace of Swords here, and you also have the Chariot. The Ace of Swords is a laser-like focus. The Chariot, he is moving in one direction. He's getting what he wants because he's in alignment with one thing. And I feel the Emperor is like almost encouraging that level of discipline, like maybe just in your mind, right, Gemini, that you just get into alignment with exactly what you want. You have the Lovers, which again could be love. I kind of feel like it's you. I feel whenever you show up as yourself, as the major arcana version of yourself, it kind of puts you in a position of power and strength and allows you to get what you want from the reading. So that's pretty significant. I also feel that, I do feel this for Gemini, like a little bit more guidance. This is your higher self angel here, and the higher self angel is guiding these two people together. But you end with the Two of Swords. I think I've said to you this like last year that you're going to get the Two of Swords a billion times this year, next year, the year after, for the next 7 years. You're basically going to have it in every single reading. But it's like you are being guided, whether you realize it or not, by your higher self. Again, that is your higher self angel. So doing things like meditating, tapping in, paying attention to sign symbols, synchronicities, things like that, that's going to help you kind of, understand where you're supposed to be going. And so I would pay attention. You have the Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords, like a victory or big success coming in for you. So love it. Also laser-like focus. The thing about the Ace of Swords is it cuts both ways. So sometimes we have to cut something out so that we can have something better. And I do feel it would be a good year to be smooth, slick, slippery here, Gemini. As in, like, the more stuff you can shave off or shave out of your life, the better, right? It's like you need to be like a swimmer this year. It's like swimmers, they shave their whole body, right? They wear those caps so that they're nice and streamlined. That's what I would do if I were you, Gemini, is eliminate the excess, anything that's slowing you down, anything that is, kind of creating friction in your life. It's almost like the more, aerodynamic you are this year, the more focused, the better. And this is a weekly reading, but, this is something I would be focusing on forever, basically, if I were you. And that's it. I would shave it down. Gemini, I'm not telling you to shave, but I am telling you to, shave things out of your life that just create friction. With the Emperor, you have the Four Wands. Yeah, like I said, love looks amazing for you this year. So, if you want love, absolutely go for it. Wouldn't surprise me with Uranus in your sign if you were attracting someone. It's going to move in April, of course. It's not there yet, but, it's already been there once. Wouldn't surprise me if you were attracting someone who is unconventional or just different in some way than what you would normally go for. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Could lead to marriage. The other thing I would say with that Four Wands is committing to the vision. Four Wands, commitment in general. So, committing to that one thing. With the Lovers, you have the Two of Cups. So, yes, of course, clearly could be a connection. Could be an Aries coming in for you as well, or like a fire sign. You have this Aries card in your next row. You have the Emperor. So, if you're looking for love, definitely could be a new person. Two of Cups is a different person usually. Usually, Two of Cups is someone who is different than your usual type, like I said. With the Ace of Swords, you have the Magician. Yeah, the Magician is also focus, right? The Magician is about reinvention. I always say the most important thing to do with the Magician is to act as if you already are something that you want to be, or act as if you already have what you want, whatever it is you're wanting. He's the card of reinvention, so he understands that to manifest, he cannot keep doing what he has been doing if he doesn't have something that he wants. He knows he has to change. So that's the thing with the Magician is we have to look at where we are not in alignment with our goal or whatever we're trying to achieve. And I always say the easiest thing to do with the Magician is to change your habits, because it's something simple that you could do, and it's also something you can learn over time. You can learn better habits. You can learn how to handle your money better if you want more money, and it will also create other improvements in your life as well. So that's just one example. This goes for everything in your life. He also has mastery over all the suits in the tarot right here. These are all the ace versions of all the suits, and you have the Ace of Swords. So, this could represent a million things for you, Gemini. It could represent you need to use your mind more, which I don't think you have a problem with. You're a freaking Gemini. It can represent speaking your truth more. It could be you utilizing your logic and reason more and your common sense more, things like that. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Cancer card. It says immerse on it. Yes. You're like the second sign that's had this card this week. You have this Aries card. It says act on it. Yes. Again, anything you're going to be doing is going to be worth going all the way in. That Cancer card says you immerse it. You have to fully integrate. You have to weave yourself into whatever it is that you're working on, or the goals you have, or, they need to become a part of who you are. And that's how deeply you have to do things. I think this is very Pluto and Aquarius for sure. There is something about Pluto and Aquarius where it's like, if we make something who we are, that is all we need to do to make something successful. So that's what I would be doing with that card. The Aries card, again, could be taking action on something that you're wanting to act on. Could also be an Aries coming in for you if you want love. You have the World, the Hermit, and the Chariot. The World is about an accomplishment or an achievement, but the Chariot could be a move for some of you. I've said to you before that Uranus and Gemini, even though it's your first house or just in your sign, just in general, wherever that is, it could be anywhere in your chart. I still feel like moving is a possibility with Uranus and Gemini, especially for you, Gemini. Because I think it's going to make you focus on your surroundings, the energy around you, your environment. And so if your environment isn't right, you're probably going to want to move. And again, that doesn't even mean that you have to move. It could mean that maybe in your office, you have to sit next to someone who stinks, right? Maybe you just want to move to another office. Could be that simple, right? So maybe it's someone who heats up fish in the microwave every single day, right? No one wants to sit near that. So, I think that for a lot of you, you could just be making moves in life, and that would be good. Could lead to a lot more victories, and I like it. You have the Hermit. Yeah, definitely time to shine bright. This is true for basically everyone. I think we've all been in hermit mode for a long time, and now we've kind of gone through this collective darkening of the soul, Neptune and Pisces, and now we're coming out the other side. Pluto and Aquarius wants us to shine. I think this is like one of those times in history where it's like the astrology really just makes sense, where it's like how it is set up make sense for growth and change and for shining and all that other stuff, and like how we have been set up. It's like we had all these crazy things happen, Neptune and Pisces, and then basically pretty much at the end of Neptune and Pisces, Pluto moves into Aquarius, so we can shine everything that we've learned and work on the impossible dream because of Neptune and Pisces. So like I said, it's like the perfect storm in the astrology for good stuff to happen. But we have to do it. That I think that's the biggest challenge, is committing to one thing. That will probably be the challenge for the next few years at least. Saturn in Aries really wants us to pick one thing, wants us to finish it, whatever, and it probably should be your impossible dream, is what I would pick, because you can do it. That's why. You have the Chariot. Chariot is like a big victory, big success coming in for you, right next to the Ace of Swords, which is amazing. Chariot is, of course, about setting yourself apart. Again, another card that you're probably going to get about 6 billion times over the next few years. So, anything you can do to be, just be your unique self. Uranus in Gemini is rebellion or rebellious energy, but it will reward you for being willing to be rebellious. Again, rebellion doesn't have to be a bad thing. It can just be you doing things in a different way than everyone else. And like we go up here, Two of Swords. She just has to get to that new island behind her and do things in a different way. With the World, you have the Six of Wands. Yeah, again, you will get a lot of attention for moving different than everybody else. And so that could lead to a lot of victories in your future. And I would take advantage of that. Definitely some sort of victory for you this week. I mean, you have 3 cards so far. Like 4, technically. The World is an accomplishment, but it could kind of be a victory. Six of Wands is a victory. Ace of Swords, Chariot. So it's like you're winning at this time, Gemini, or you should be. With the Hermit, you have the Five of Swords, which you have the Five of Swords twice right here. Five of Swords, I think sometimes is about taking a risk of putting yourself out there. And so, he has won at all cost. A lot of people read it as like a separation or breaking up or walking away from something. All those things can be true, but, really the story of the card is that he is walking away from a battle that he has won. But he won the battle at what cost is like the question with the Five of Swords. It's like, yeah, he's the winner, but those people that are walking away might be sad, they might be disappointed, so it's like he's all alone walking away from this thing. And so it's like sometimes we have to ask ourselves that question, is it worth winning if it makes you alone? I don't know. I can't answer that question for you. The other thing about the Five of Swords is that, I can't remember which tarot book it is, but in one of the tarot books, they talk about how maybe this is the same person at 3 stages of battle. It's like the first stage, he's lost and he's just sad. In the second stage, he's learned how to walk away from his losses, but he's still holding his head high because he lost, but he gained knowledge from the loss. So he's learned how to walk away. And in the third stage, he's learned how to win. So again, I kind of feel that for you, Gemini. I never say that, but I kind of feel like maybe this is saying you have learned how to win, which is good. With the Chariot, you have the Five of Cups. Yeah, it's like with the Five of Swords here as well, this would be like fearing that you are going to be alone. I think this is very common for people when they're doing things like going their own way, when they're thinking outside the box or sticking out like a sore thumb, like I tell you to do, or, going through Uranus and Gemini. It's like one of those things where you have to make changes, and you might be thinking like, what if I become successful and I lose all my friends, or I lose all these people, or whatever. And I think this is more of a question that I have for you, Gemini. It's not so much like, it's not advice or anything. I think it's more just like saying, yeah, it's like you're changing. Obviously, you've been through a lot, you've learned a lot. So does that mean you should hold yourself back? I don't think so. It's like, yeah, maybe some people won't like it, but at the same time, I think you're meant to grow. I think we all are, and you will find new people. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this Between Worlds card and this To the Sea card. Yeah, I love this card, this Between Worlds card. It's like this flamingo is going from black and white to color. It's kind of one of my purgatory cards. It says you've been in like purgatory in this in-between world for a long time, and now it's like stepping into color, which is very similar to the Hermit. Again, the Hermit's been through a dark period, and now he's stepping into the light, or he needs to shine his light. The To the Sea card is about, like, it basically says time to act. Like that Aries card says act on it. It's time for you to start moving forward. You have the Temperance card, the Five of Swords, and the Two of Cups. Temperance can represent patience, and again, with the Hermit, it kind of makes sense. I feel like you have been very patient, patiently waiting for things to change and things to be different. But he has this path here, and this is the path to glory. He could easily go claim that crown and have a victory or a success. And so I feel for a lot of you, this is about, it's basically saying you're ready to move forward. I think the Temperance card is a good card, but, sometimes I think he's trying to be too perfect and he's trying to turn water into wine there, but he could just get started on his journey. There's nothing more that he has to wait for. And, again, I think this year, especially at the beginning of Uranus and Gemini, you probably should be paying close attention to Sagittarius energy as well. Sometimes I think it's more important for us to pay attention to our opposite sign depending on what's happening in the astrology. And so, again, that adventurous, happy-go-lucky, just down-to-clown energy of Sagittarius will probably be good for you to explore and for you to work with, because again, you're gonna have these crazy ideas. If you're just willing to see how they go, then not just have fun, right? Then those things will work better than if you're like too serious and you're like, I need this to work, right? And so I feel working with that Sag energy, being adventurous, exploring, that'll be really helpful for you. You have the Five of Swords. Again, we already talked about it. I kind of feel like you've learned how to win at this point in life, and I would just keep winning, really, with the Five of Swords. Of course, if there's anything you need to cut out with that Ace of Swords, I think it's a good week for you to, to get smooth or something. I don't even know what I want to say. It's like maybe you need to oil yourself up here, Gemini, and get super slippery, right? So this is turning into a different kind of reading, but what I would say is that, cutting things out, smoothing out would be a really good idea. Even if that means you have to walk away from people or, certain situations that are causing a lot of friction. That's what I would do here. You have the Two of Cups. Again, could be attracting someone. Definitely could be attracting an Emperor. You have the Emperor here. It could be whatever gender you're into. But the Two of Cups is a perfect match. So I do like to see that for you. Two of Cups, like I said, is you and your higher self. And so, and a lot of people have had stuff about meditating, stuff like that. So, I think tapping into your higher self energy or tapping into different ways of listening to your higher self would be a good thing this week. With the Temperance card, you have the Page of Cups. It's like I feel like telling you to go for it in some ways. I don't really see that in the reading, but just intuitively I feel if you've been waiting on a person, or I don't really think you're waiting on a person. I think you're waiting to make a decision on a person. I would go for it with that Page of Cups. I just kind of, haven't I said this to you before, Gemini? It's like I get the feeling of you taking a person off the market, really. I'm pretty sure I said this to you last year, but it's almost like, the best way I can describe it is you're interested in a person that gets a lot of interest, but no one is doing anything about it. And it's obviously, if you're the one to make a move or you're the one to start talking to this person or whatever, I'm not telling you to go tell this person you're in love with them or anything, but it's almost like if you do it, you're going to be the winner. So, go for it. Shoot your shot here, Gemini. With the Five of Swords, you have the Queen of Pentacles here. Queen of Pentacles, very good for resourcefulness, focusing on your resources, building wealth. It seems to be a good week for money. I would say that your reading is good, but everybody else had a lot of really good money cards. So I would say that energy could just exist in the collective. And the Queen of Pentacles is about being resourceful. She's about looking for better ways to use your money or to use your energy, right? Energy is a resource. Time, effort, attention are resources. And so I would be thinking about how you use those things and use them in a better way. With the Two of Cups, you have the Four of Cups. Yeah, it could be the fear that someone won't accept your offer, or it could be the fear of love in general. So again, if you want love, this says you've learned from these 3 times before, and now you just need to apply what you learned to this one cup, and things can work out better. So, if you want love, I would go for it. Same thing with anything you're trying. If you're trying something, again, he has failed at least 3 times before, and this 4th cup is an opportunity to try again. So if you're getting an opportunity to try something again, I would go for it, even if you failed, because, this says you've learned, and all you have to do is apply what you learned to this one, and things will work out better. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this horse spirit says freedom is yours. You have this beaver, it says lay a solid foundation. It is a good year for foundational work for you. As a matter of fact, you have the Queen of Pentacles twice and the Page of Pentacles. I consider Pentacle cards to kind of be foundational energy. Some of them, like the Court cards, for example, the Ten of Pentacles, Four of Pentacles, can all be foundational. But it just seems like it's a good year to lay a solid foundation. Again, really this is kind of the beginning of Saturn in Aries in February. It's going to move in February 13th. Saturn has already been in Aries once, but it retrograded out. So, it's going to move in to stay. And I think Saturn and Aries, especially this first full year or whatever you want to call it, would be good to lay a solid foundation for something you're planning on building forever, right? Saturn and Aries, the best thing we can do is pick a project that we will work on for the rest of our lives. Does that mean we have to work on it for the rest of our lives? No, but but we should pick something and finish it. So working on your foundation, good idea. You have the Two of Swords, Page of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles. Two of Swords is about, getting over here to this third place. I always say she's my card of third place solutions. So when we find another solution to what we're working on, we can create a lot of success with the Two of Swords. Also an amazing card for listening to your intuition. She has this blindfold on. Blindfolds in the tarot represent not trusting your intuition. So definitely would be a good time to trust your intuition. You have the Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles could be a new person. So again, if you're attracting love, Page of Pentacles usually starts with communication. I consider him to be a messenger. Normally we consider knights to be messengers, but I also consider him to be a messenger. Also very good for learning something new about money. So he's the card of studiousness, and the more you learn, the more you earn with the Page of Pentacles. So I would say whatever you're working on, learning a new trick, a new tactic, a new technique would be a really good idea for you this week, because it could make you more money, right? You have the Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles, like I said, card of resourcefulness, card of tapping in and using your resources to make more money. So I think that would be a good thing to learn about as well. I always say she's my card of multiplication, and especially in the good stuff. So you could be discovering a way to multiply your finances this week. I would say it's probably by becoming a swimmer. Like I said, by smoothing things out. That could really, that could trigger something that helps you kind of smooth out your finances, make more money, whatever. With the Two of Swords, we'll take both. You have the Emperor and the Three of Pentacles. Pretty good for love. This could represent a person that really wants to work on a team with the Three of Pentacles. Also amazing for any opportunities coming in for you this week, as we talked about at the beginning. Three of Pentacles card of quality work, and it's also about being recognized for the work you've done. So could be getting some recognition. With the Page of Pentacles, you have the Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands is out with the old, in with the new. And Page of Pentacles is a fresh start. So if you're getting some sort of fresh start opportunity, I would take it. Ace of Wands wants us to move towards our desires. And, obviously if this is good for love, but, I'm just talking about what you desire to do in your life in general. And again, if you're having a hard time getting started on something that you're passionate about, education, teaching yourself something, learning something, reading a book about what you do, could be the thing that kind of sparks you into action. So, I think learning would be a great place to start. With the Queen of Pentacles, you have the Page of Swords. I thought you had it twice for some reason. But you do have a bunch of pages here in this reading. But Page of Swords is a card of curiosity. So, number one, you could be curious about a person. Person could be curious about you. Could also just be good for learning. Again, he asks a lot of questions. So, learning as much as you can about things you care about would be a good idea. You have this Hills card. It says obstacles to overcome. They're hills, not mountains, although you have the mountain card next. But still, they're hills, not mountains. So don't let little things get in the way. You have this mountain. It says major challenge to overcome. But you have the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords is above the mountains. You also have the Ace of Swords on the bottom of the clarifying deck here, which is funny. But you can see the sword is above the mountains. So, I think it's a good time to challenge yourself, Gemini. Again, mountains, people climb mountains on purpose. Where do you get the best views? At the top of a mountain. So if you have a challenge in your life that you want to face, you have the Hermit. You're at the top of the mountain. So maybe it's time to shine that inner light. You have this fair woman card. It says dealings or relationships with a woman with blonde, gray, or white hair. You have this flag. It says do not be tempted to lower your standards. Yes, I think everybody should raise their standards at this time. This fair woman could just be you, even if you're not a woman. Doesn't matter. A general reading. I don't attach gender to these cards. So, this could just be saying it's time to raise your standards on your life. You have this wreath that says sorrow over a loss. I think you need to let go of like 3 past losses is what I feel like it's saying with that 4 cups for sure. I think this is like multiple things that you might be a little hung up on. I'm not too worried about it, Gemini. It's just like a little thing that you might be working on. You have this horse that says short journey on it. Yeah, like I said, adventure. Sagittarius energy. Just having fun, being down for adventure. All that will be good for you. But this looks really good, Gemini. I like it. So thank you for being here. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment. Really helps me out. And definitely enjoy your week.